simple facts about childhood obesity. In children aged 6 to 11, obesity increased from 6.5% of kids in 1980 to 19.6% in 2008. In children aged 12 to 19 in that same time period, obesity rose from 5% to 18.1%. Nationwide, less than 1/3 of all children aged 6 to 17 engage in vigorous activity, which is defined as at least 20 minutes of physical activity that makes the child sweat and breathe hard. So what does this all mean? Obese kids have much higher rates of social and psychological problems such as stigmatization, poor self-esteem, and depression. Overweight and inactive children are 600 times more likely to develop heart disease as adults. Obese kids have high risks for developing other serious health issues that normally plague much older adults: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, bone and joint problems, and even stroke and several types of cancer. Quite simply, if we do not reverse the childhood obesity epidemic, today's youth may be the first generation in American history to have a shorter lifespan than their parents.
Is that the legacy you want to leave us? How did we get here?
According to the Center for Disease Control website, the rate of childhood obesity has tripled in the last 30 years. Immediate health side effects of childhood obesity include being more likely to have risk factors for cardiovascular disease, such as high cholesterol or high blood pressure. In a population-based sample of 5 to 17-year-olds, 70% of obese youth had at least one risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Also, obese adolescents are more likely to have prediabetes, a condition in which blood glucose levels indicate a high risk for developmental diabetes. Additionally, children and adolescents who are obese are at greater risk for bone and joint problems, sleep apnea, and social and psychological problems such as stigmatism and poor self-esteem. The CDC also explains long-term health issues associated with childhood obesity. Children and adolescents who are obese are likely to be obese as adults 11 and 14, and therefore are at risk for adult health problems such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, stroke, several types of cancer, and osteoarthritis. One study showed that adults who became obese as early as age 2 were more likely as obese as adults. Another problem in the long run with youth obesity is that overweight and obesity are associated with increased risk for many types of cancer, including cancer of the breast, colon, endometrium, esophagus, kidney, pancreas, gallbladder.
The PBS Teachers website states that for children, physical activity and movement enhances fitness, fosters growth and development, and helps teach them about their world. Children learn as they move throughout their environment. In addition to the health benefits of physical activity, movement is a part of the young child's life and education, for it's through movement that children develop social, emotional, and cognitive skills. For young children, movement is a critical means of communication, expression, and learning. It is imperative that classroom teachers give children as many opportunities as possible to be physically active and to learn through their environment. The integration of curriculum enhances learning by promoting understanding and reinforcing curriculum content in a variety of educational settings. Encouraging students to transfer what is learned to one setting to another increases means of what has to be learned to giving students opportunities to see information in a new relationship and applying situations and reinforcing curriculum content by a more in-depth exposure to material. Teachers have many opportunities to use movement and physical activity within their regular classroom curriculum. Since children are interested in movement, these relationships may spark their interest as they work in math, language arts, science, social studies, health, and other subjects. The National Association for Sport and Physical Education has issued physical activity guidelines suggesting that young children should have an accumulation of more than 60 minutes and up to several hours of physical activity each day to promote health and well-being.
But we found a high school in Illinois that's taking Kennedy's mandate to a new level. At Naperville Central, a public high school of nearly 3,000 students, Educators believe exercise will not only get kids fit, but will improve learning and academic performance. And they're putting that idea into practice for a group of students who struggle in reading and in math. At 7:45 a.m., these freshmen and sophomores start the day in the gym.
Get your heart rate up.
The key is to get their heart rates up right before their most difficult classes.
Right now, I'm riding the bike to get at least 20 minutes in the zone.
The whole goal was to get them at 145 to 185 beats per minute for their heart rate.
Once Nadine Alness has hit her target heart rate zone, she heads to a class to improve reading comprehension.
Here's an example of a text-to-world connection. And this is what you'll be doing in your journals.
Cross-reducing is easy.
Then comes pre-algebra.
Let's look at number 21. You cross-reduce with the 9.
I like gym in the morning, how it refreshes me. I don't doze off a lot, so I focus more onto the teacher, more on the lessons, more on everything.
Hello.
Paul Zintarski is the brains behind the program. He was the physical education coordinator here for 26 years. He says some teachers were skeptical when he first came up with the idea.
They were afraid that the kids would be so hyped up coming out of PE going into the next class that they wouldn't be able to teach them well. So yeah, skeptical? Absolutely. They thought we were weird.
But in the 6 years since the program began, the results speak for themselves. On average, kids who signed up for physical education directly before reading comprehension read half a year ahead of those who opted out of the exercise program. And in math, the improvements were even more dramatic. Students with the benefit of PE before pre-algebra consistently did better, improving 2 to 4 times more than their peers on standardized tests. It's something that Zintarski thinks other educators need to know about.